Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. My name is Elisa Sklar, and I'm very happy to have you here. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy days. I am here with my colleague, Stevie Field-Chavez. Hello, Stevie.
Hi, Lisa.
I guess what we really wanted to do with you here today is show you some of the really exciting things that we've done to change things up on ZoomProspector. We have been around for going on 21 years now. We invented the process of online corporate site selection through these GIS data tools. We're very excited to present this consistent innovation to our clients. In fact, we get some of our best ideas for product features and functionality from our clients, which is why we always say that we are what's new. We are the newest tool that is on the market with this brand new version of ZoomProspector. So some of the things that you're going to see in the tour that Stevie is going to do with us today here is that we are now have a split screen map and property display left and right. This is similar to what you'll see on Airbnb or Zillow. That is really best practices, and it gives you enhanced readability and the opportunity to analyze so you can see where the properties fall out on the geography in front of you on the map. We have intuitive mobile responsive design. We are the only tool on the market to offer a fully featured mobile version, which means that you can still see maps on the mobile version. You can see all of the reports. So nothing is actually left behind, and you will note that we're really the only tool that doesn't lose anything when you switch to your smartphone or your tablet. The map can be expanded. You can dynamically sort data within reports. We have a dynamic use of the radius tool, which you can drag across the map, or you can also input it as at the top of the reports as well. We have our pinpoint tool. We have this beautiful new free draw tool. So that replaces the polygon, and it gives you much finer control over what areas on the map you want to search within. So you can search at the intersection of two interstates or along a coastline, around a lake or a river, whatever it is that you're looking for. We now give you the opportunity to save reports into multiple project files, so it becomes possible for you, if you have many different projects on the go, it is now possible for you to be able to save those, and similarly your users are able to save those things so that they can manage those, and Stevie will show you what that looks like. You can search sites and buildings together. You'll see that there's a new design on the report. And with that, what I'm going to do is hand this over to Stevie, and she is going to walk us through it on the live site.
Okay, Elisa, can you see my screen?
I can, yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. It's always nice when this goes as planned. So we're going to take a really quick tour through our new platform application. This is for Florida Power and Light. I do want to say just a couple of notes here. If you're a current client and you have not been upgraded to the new platform, please give us a call, send us an email, either myself, Elisa, or Jeff Sunnison, your client services manager, and we can upgrade you to the new platform. It really is got some kind of dynamic qualities to it. As well, Lisa will follow up at the end of the webinar with contact information. So if you have questions about how this works, or additional questions and some time we can spend one-on-one, we can do that. So that's coming as well. So don't feel like you're going to miss anything. Okay, so first thing we have here is the Florida Power and Light application. It's a truly dynamic application, not only with the new platform, but with just some of the information that they have in it. We're going to walk through this maybe like a site selector would, and so I'm going to show you some of the search features. As a user or website visitor, I can search by city, by county, and by region. I can search by sites, buildings, size, square feet, or acres, for sale, for lease, various building types or land types. If this is something that you may be interested in the future, we can always put different categories here and subcategories. We also have more filters, which allows the user to search by address, property name, lease rate, sales rate, keywords. Keywords is always important. I don't ever want to minimize that, because it allows you to search for anything. Maybe you're searching for an opportunity zone property or something in a particular incentive zone or rail served, and so by entering in those keywords, it will filter out everything that doesn't apply here, and then various assets to the state. We also have a couple of other abilities to search, and that would be by actually free drawing on a map. We know in economic development that a lot of times city and county lines don't mean much to a business who is looking to expand or relocate. They want to go where is right for their business. And so they may know that they want to be somewhere in the center of the state And so they can actually draw a tool or draw a map, place on the map, and apply that filter to their search. For the sake of time, I'm not completing some of these functions. I'm simply just highlighting these functions for you. So we've already got a couple here of applications or properties that met our criteria. I've gone ahead and set up a couple of folders so I can save these projects to our folder. And so I've just got Pau and Pablo are a couple of our team at GIS Planning, and of course we have GIS Planning here. And so one of the things I want to do is maybe look at our saved results. So here I can see our different folders. So I can manage my folders by actually deleting or creating a new folder, or I can view various folders that I've created. So looking at some of these folders, we can see all of our saved properties that we saved for this particular project. You have no limit to the amount of folders that you create or how many properties can go into each folder. The neat thing about this is that we have the ability to share this via email or social media networks. So I can share this by simply entering the email of who I want to send this to with my email address. I can copy and embed this link in not only another email or an electronic newsletter. And I think that's a really cool way to start marketing specific sites or buildings that you may want to kind of get out there in front of your audience. And then we also have the ability to share via social media. So let's take a look at one of these buildings here. I had a couple identified, but okay, so let's take a look at this South 27th Street. And see what kind of information we can find with this building. So here I have various pictures. We can have pictures, drone imagery, aerial imaging. There's multiple ways you can demonstrate your photos, contact information, and then we have the property details listed below. We see our city and county profile data. I'm going to show that to you here in just a little bit. So that is provided, and we do provide that for you. You don't need to do anything for that city and county data. Contact information, logos. This was actually a great example. And again, we have the ability to share this information or print in a PDF the flyer for this report, and we can include that in maybe something else that we're working on. Florida Power and Light has our occupation data, which is brought to you by Emsi or EMSI. Everybody says it different. This is going out to 10 miles, but we have the ability to modify our search and by simply dragging our radius, or we can enter in a new distance by just plugging in our number here, 0 to 60 minutes, 0 to 60 miles from our site of interest. And so this is going to break up our jobs by occupation, median earnings by occupation, and we also have the ability on these little levers here on the side. This is going to provide you your thematic maps, or otherwise known as heat maps. So, you know, it's one of the things you'll hear me say probably a couple of different times during our demo. It's really just another way of looking at data. One of the things that we know at GIS Planning is how important it is that we are able to present data that is absorbed by all people. So can it be in report form? We have our graph form, and then as we saw, we had our heat signature. So I'm a more visual person, so this here is what really works for me. Our demographics, consumer expenditures, and typically we have a labor force tab, but they chose the occupation data through Emsi, so we eliminated that labor force tab. That information is brought to you by Applied Geographic Solutions in Thousand Oaks, California, and it's updated 2 times annually. It is ZIP+4 data, so it's all the way down to the block group level, and so it really gets into that micro level of data. We know we have our gender, ethnicity distribution, total households, average income, etc. And like I mentioned before, we never need to take the site down to update the information. We simply push the information out to you twice a year. 2019 information as well as our projected 2024. Consumer expenditures looks very similar. It's breaking up where our residents are spending their money. So men's apparel, I always like to look at women's apparel because that number always just makes me laugh. But you know, it's always nice to know where our concentration of population who is spending the most on women's apparel is located for this particular demo. And we can always, our maps are interactive, so we can always zoom in and get a closer bird's eye look of what's going on in that particular area and where our residents are spending their money. So wage and salary information. This is brought to you by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and this is going to break out our occupations by mean and median hourly, as well as mean and median annual wages. So I can see approximately what our management occupations may be paying, or architectural and engineering occupations may pay, and the concentrations of the subcategories within that. So that really gives me an idea of what I should expect to pay on salaries. This information is updated annually. Our business information is one of my favorite reports. This is actually going to break out the businesses within the user entered radius. So our default is 1 mile, and you'll see it gets very busy within that 1 mile radius. And so I can click on any one of these dots, which is highlighting a specific industry, and it's going to give me the name of this company as well as the industry, sales, and employee information. But on the side is going to be a breakdown of these same companies. And so I've got the ability to either search by number of employees, annual revenue, and NAICS codes. We can also add industry clusters here. So if you have specific industry clusters in your area that you want, you know, biotechnology or medical device, we can, all you have to do is provide us with the NAICS codes, and we can add those as a search option. But here's going to be a breakdown of our industry codes. And so we have our 2-digit, our 4-digit, and then our 6-digit NAICS code. And so I want to see what other attorneys and private practice firms that we have in the area. And so they're going to highlight here on my report, and on your application, they will map. So you do have the ability, they'll map. There we go. I just haven't cleared my cache, and so there's a little bit of a delay there, but they will map, so you're able to see not only where your competitors may be, but where your suppliers may be. And this is a really great tool for your existing industries. They may want to know where their competition is, where underserved areas of your community are, and so this allows them to search out information on what's happening in the community for businesses. This information is updated 4 times annually. We update it every quarter. It's brought to you by Info Group or Info USA. Again, we simply push the information out to you so you don't have to do anything. So one unique thing about Florida Power and Light is that they've integrated FDI data. We provide this FDI data through FDI markets. We are part of the Financial Times, as Elisa highlighted, and so we have access to this information. It is 7 years of data that is updated quarterly. So at each quarter, the very first quarter will fall off as this new quarter comes on. And it's going to highlight our, not only our origin, our country origin, but projects, jobs, and investment. And you can source it by country or by sector. So let's take a look at, we're going to look at some of the French companies here, and maybe we want to see software and IT services, and this is going to give us a breakdown of the companies that are located within that 10-mile radius. And you have the ability, because the companies actually aren't mapping, we don't actually show the absolute location of that company, you do have the information, the ability to look in the heat signature. So you can see really where they're, you know, generally located on the map. This is an additional add-on to the GIS planning application, but it is available to anyone, and it's a really great tool if you are working in lead generation efforts and you know, FDI attraction to your area. So it just really breaks down and shows these businesses that you're out meeting with that you already have this type of investment in your community. All right, so I mentioned that we would show the city and county profiles. So we've got one report before that, which is our talent information. And our talent information is going to break up where our graduates are coming from. So it's going to say our top 5 programs by number of graduates, our top universities by number of graduates, and then a breakdown of our graduates and the actual degree that they are graduating with. So I can see we've got some decent amount of degrees here in environmental science. So I've clicked that, and so it's going to show me the learning institutions and which degree our graduates are graduating with, and then they'll map on the map as well. So let's take a look at our, whoops, get my little cursor to work with me. There we go, our city and county profile information. So this is going to be really an aggregate of all of the information that we've looked at. So we have our total population, our age distribution. It's got some interactivity to it, so it really makes it dynamic. We can download part of this image. We've got our overall educational attainment, labor force, talent. So it really is just an overview of the full city and county. And so if you are, for instance, a multi-regional client of ours, you would have one of these for each city and each county that you represent. So it's really kind of one of those neat little, this is part of it. When I did economic development myself, this was part of the data that I had to go out and find and get it from reputable sources. So this takes the place of those static PDFs that you have on your website, and it makes this information responsive and dynamic and interactive. Another question that comes up is opportunity zones. So if you have opportunity zones or if you have incentive zones in your area, the map layers are always just a really great way to take a look at those. So I can look at various incentive zones. I can look at, I'm kind of really out far, so I know we're looking at a very large area. Environmental areas, so I'm looking at flood zones. Let's scroll in quite a bit here. So I can see different areas and the attributes that's going on with flood zones, and wetlands. So there's a lot of information to be gathered by using the map layers. If you do have opportunity zones and incentive zones in your area, I always recommend doing a link that will highlight that incentive zone up here, maybe at the top. So it really, by clicking that, it just takes the user into all of those properties that are served by an opportunity zone. It just makes it a very easy way for your user to do a search. So with that, I know we went through this super fast. Elisa, do we have any questions?
Well, I just want to remind people can add in any questions on the fields on the GoToWebinar control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. We're happy to take a look at that. And we did have a question about proposals. How would we use this tool with proposals?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So we do have what's called a proposal generator. Stay with me, everyone, because we're going to go searching here in the in my little box here. So the proposal generator allows you as the administrator, it's going to just take a second here to pop up, to actually, you have two ways to use this. You can do a call for properties, which allows you to email or send out an email to all of those within your community, and you can separate it out by region, by city, by county, by specific users, and let them know that you have a specific project, and if they want to submit a property, to do so by whatever date you select. You can have all the property requirements, you can have attachments that need to be filled out, that all goes to your economic development organization and lets them know, hey, get your properties in the system so you can submit them. Any properties that are approved within that system can be actually captured, and they'll map automatically into a proposal that you build. It's all done on WordPress, so it's very easy to use. We take care of this little part here for you. So any properties that you technically thumb up can be automatically built into the application. Again, they map automatically, and then you can have as many tabs as you like and name them whatever you want. So you can include your demographic profile, which will come up in a minute. We've got a little bit of a delay with the GoToMeeting. We've got your director's message, any additional documents. You simply copy this link and email this link to your end user, and they will have access to your brand new proposal. The really cool thing about this is if you change, let's say you see a spelling error or you decide to add a property, you do not need to send them a new link. It is a living, breathing document, and so as long as they click that link, they'll get the most recent and current proposal that you send. So I hope that that answers your question. Feel free to contact us for more information on that and a more in-depth overview.
Thank you. And Abigail has a question about Emsi data. Is the Emsi data included or is it an add-on?
Emsi data is an add-on of, but it's a very, very, very minimal cost. And if you know, we'll have to take a look at your area, Abigail, and see, because if there's a parent client in your area that has that, we might be able to work something out.
And a question about local data. Is it possible to integrate any local GIS data?
Absolutely. We can include as many map layers as you like, and I always encourage communities to get creative with your map layers. Bowling Green, Kentucky did a great job of actually highlighting their music venues, and they have little treble clefs that mark out those little music venues. So, you know, it's a great way to help promote your tourism in your area, as well as those economic development map layers that are needed when businesses are looking to expand or relocate to a particular area.
Excellent. Yeah, and other examples, we've seen zoning, we've seen water lines. We had one region wanted to map out companies that were part of the growing medical cannabis industry and include that. I've seen others that map out, provide data to map out local development projects, local success stories that related to economic development. So I do think that it's kind of fun. If you've got the data, then it's relatively easy for us to build it in. So that's wonderful. If there's any other questions, you can put that in the questions field on the right-hand side of your screen. And someone had a question about what does this have to do with the intelligence components?
Ooh, another great question. We have some fantastic questions coming out from our attendees. So one of the things that we've done is we have built these specific reports as we went through, not the FDI at this time, but the demographics, consumer expenditures and labor force, the business data, the talent data, and we've included them in intelligence components. They can actually be embedded anywhere in your website you like. We're going to take a look at another site. That's one of the reasons I love doing these live, is because it's just fun to bounce around and see what other clients have done and best practices. I just apologize for the delay. So we've taken that information so it lives not only inside of the GIS tool, but outside of the GIS tool. So the demographic, labor force, and consumer expenditure information lives here, as well as inside the sites and buildings. Here's all of our business data. So these are separate locations that are anywhere in your website that you want to include them. The neat thing about this mapping tool, site selection tool, or if you're a chamber of commerce and you're not thinking I want a site selection tool, you can group these together, or you can purchase a couple. So there's multiple ways to include these in your website. In my economic development days, finding the data was one of the hardest. It was a pain point, and so we've kind of eliminated that part for you and apply this so you can really build a website around it. So all of those map layers are included here. I can also map out by heat signature any of our other reports. But for opportunity zone clients, this is a really cool, kind of cool tool, because you can embed this in on a page of opportunity zones, provide an explanation of what opportunity zones are. We can activate the opportunity zone map layer, and we can include a button that says for opportunity zone properties, click here, and that takes you into the GIS tool with only opportunity zone properties showing. And we can do that on multiple different incentive zones. It's not just the OZs. That's just a great example of what's happening. But so intelligence components is the same information that we have inside of the GIS tool. It just lives outside of the GIS tool. It really just makes for a full and complete website, as you can see.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Stevie, for walking us through that. I think this brings us to the end of our session right now. As I had said before, you will be getting a link to the video recording in your inbox by tomorrow. You can also always reach out to Stevie or myself. Let me see if I can bring this up so that you could take a look at it. You can also reach out to us at any point by getting in touch at these addresses that you will see on your screen right now. I work with all of our clients one-on-one to help with the launch and promotion ongoing of your data tools to make sure that you are using them as effectively as possible to drive as much traffic, quality traffic to your website. Please feel free to reach out with any questions you might have, and thank you again for taking time out of your days to spend this half an hour with us, and I wish you all a very pleasant afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.